Before you book your holiday to Gran Canaria, please watch this video first, because not all holiday destinations on the island are the same. Some are great for families, some are perfect for the nightlife, and some are for a more quieter upscale stay. So in this video I'll help you quickly figure out which area is actually the best for your kind of holiday, so you can have a great holiday here with us in Gran Canaria. Because the best place for you is not always the biggest or most famous one. Talking about the biggest names, Playa del Inglés must be the most famous one in Gran Canaria. If you want that more classic, all-round, tourist-friendly holiday destination in Gran Canaria, Playa del Inglés is one of the strongest contenders immediately. This is one of the island's best known resorts for a reason. It gives you a huge amount of choice: beach, bars, restaurants, shopping centers, nightlife, entertainment, family activities, excursions nearby, and a constant feeling that something is happening. For a lot of visitors here in Gran Canaria, that is exactly what they are looking for. It's one of the safest options if you don't want to feel stuck. It is also one of the best family areas on the island, because there is simply so much to do nearby, and one of the strongest nightlife areas as well. That combination is hard to beat, but do not lock this one in just yet, because Playa del Inglés also has a big weakness that is very important to know. It is very big and therefore very easy to book the wrong destination in Playa del Inglés. So if you pick a hotel without checking the map properly, you can end up farther from the beach than expected, farther from the restaurants than expected, or in a part that feels noisier, older, or more chaotic than you had in mind. Some access points to the beach involve stairs, and while there are lifts, in some places the overall resort still rewards people who do their homework before booking. Now, if Playa del Inglés feels too lively and too messy for your taste, Meloneras might actually be much better for you. Meloneras is the more upscale answer. This is where you go if you want the more modern hotels, a more polished atmosphere, better quality accommodation, more refined evenings, and a calmer feel overall. It is one of the strongest choices in Gran Canaria for luxury and all-inclusive family holidays, and one of the most obvious choices for couples who care more about comfort than chaos. But Meloneras also has a little bit of a drawback, and that is budget. If you are on a budget, want loud nightlife, or want the beach right outside the hotel, it is not automatically ideal. So Meloneras is excellent, but only if you want what it is actually good at: a smoother, more premium, quieter holiday. It is less about action and more about quality. Now let's jump to Puerto Rico, because this is an area that a lot of people don't consider at first, but when you hear about it, often it becomes maybe your favorite. Puerto Rico is one of the liveliest resorts on the island, especially when it comes to nightlife. A lot of the nightlife is easy to find, concentrated together in the local shopping center in the heart of the resort. There you will find a lot of bars, pubs, and clubs gathered together. That concentration is a huge advantage. It makes Puerto Rico easier to use than some of the larger resorts we've previously discussed, and also much easier to find your way if you're just there for a couple of days. Pretty much from day one you will find everything you need and want to find, while in some of the bigger resorts you might be a little bit lost the first days. Add in the beach, water sports, nearby boat trips, plenty of restaurants, shopping, and walking access to Playa de Amadores, and suddenly Puerto Rico starts to look pretty good. For couples, adults, and families with older children, it can be a brilliant choice. While some people see the hills here as a major advantage to have great views, they also offer a bit of a drawback. This is that, of course, for going from and to your hotel, you might have to walk a bit up and down stairs or up and down hill. So Puerto Rico is very strong if you want nightlife, restaurants, a beach holiday, a lively central area, and a bit more compactness than Playa del Inglés. But if you hate steep walks, have mobility issues, or want a flatter, easier beach stay, Puerto Rico becomes much less attractive very quickly for you. It is one of the island's best examples of a resort that is fantastic for the right person and tiring and exhausting for the wrong person. One little side note to know about this is that some of the hotels actually have elevators going down the beach or a shuttle service. So if you still want to book Puerto Rico but don't like walking up and down stairs, check this first and you might actually have an excellent, amazing holiday in Puerto Rico. Next to Puerto Rico, you will also find Playa de Amadores. Playa de Amadores is one of the best choices in Gran Canaria if your priority is a beautiful beach and a calmer atmosphere. The beach is the big selling point here. Soft, light sand, calm turquoise waters, lots of beachfront restaurants and a more polished feel than many other beach areas on the island. It is especially good for families, couples and anyone who wants easy beach days without the busier, more chaotic feel of somewhere else like Playa del Inglés. But there is a catch. Playa de Amadores is much more about the beach than about the resort itself. Beyond that, there is not a huge amount going on and many of the hotels are also up on the hillside, so getting down to the beach is sometimes a little bit of a problem, but I must say most of the hotels here, they do have shuttles or they do have elevators going down to the beach. Of course, as I said, Puerto Rico is right next door, so if you do want busier nightlife or more to see and do or a change of scenery, you can always take a taxi there. It only takes about 5 minutes. Now let's talk about Taurito, because this might actually be one of those hidden gems a lot of people have never heard about and will never hear about. This is great area if you want to travel with young children for family holidays, especially with babies or children up to around 12 years old. The reason is simple. It is compact, practical and entertainment focused, especially with the water park right there in the center of it. That makes family life easier. You are not constantly trying to create the fun from scratch. The resort already leans that way. So while Playa del Inglés may be the stronger all-round family area overall, Taurito can actually be the better answer for parents who want a more contained, child-friendly setup rather than a big resort with lots of moving parts. It is not the best option for people chasing nightlife or endless restaurants, but if you are a family, it can beat bigger names very easily. For most of the hotels here, within a 2-minute walk, you have mini golf, arcades, bowling, the water park, beaches, bars, restaurants. You have everything so close by, and that especially makes it easy with small children or babies. The resort next to Taurito is Puerto de Mogán, and this is where the mood changes completely. Puerto de Mogán is one of the prettiest and most charming places to stay in Gran Canaria. It feels more distinctive, more memorable and more romantic than many of the large purpose-built resorts on the island. While some of the other resorts on the island feel practical, Puerto de Mogán feels more romantic and traditional. This is a very good option for couples and for travelers who want a harbor setting, nice restaurants, a more walkable resort feel, and something that feels a bit more special than a standard Gran Canaria tourist trip. The trade-off is that it is not built around nightlife intensity or endless resort entertainment. So if you want charm, it is excellent. If you want action, there are stronger choices elsewhere on the island. Bahia Feliz is one of the smallest and calmest holiday destinations in the southern tourist area. Therefore, it is great for families with young children and babies, with family-friendly hotels, a small beach and water sports, but not much in the way of restaurants or shopping, because many visitors spend most of their time in the hotels. That tells you almost everything. Bahia Feliz is not trying to entertain you all over the resort. It is trying to make a quiet, easy holiday possible. So if your ideal trip is more about a peaceful hotel stay than about exploring bars and promenades every evening, this is a much better choice than many first-time visitors realize. Nearby, St. Agustín plays a similar role, but with a bit more flexibility. It is quieter than Playa del Inglés, but not as tucked away as Bahia Feliz. So for people who want to stay in the south, have beach access, enjoy calmer surroundings, and still be within reach of busier areas, St. Agustín is one of the most balanced under the radar options. It does not usually top people's dream list, but that is exactly why it can work so well. It is a quieter compromise without feeling completely disconnected and having more lively and active places and attractions like Playa del Inglés nearby. This area is especially great for an adults-only holiday if you like it to be relaxing and also have some excellent beaches right in front of your hotel. Another resort that deserves much more attention than it usually gets is Playa del Cura. This is one of the quieter, less touristy options in the south, and that makes it a very specific kind of good. If you want peace, a slower rhythm, and fewer crowds, Playa del Cura starts making a lot of sense. But this is not where you go for variety, nightlife, or lots of evening choices. This is where you go if the idea of a calm, low-key holiday sounds like a benefit rather than a compromise. Some people will immediately hear that and lose interest. Others will think, finally, that is exactly what I wanted. And that is the pattern you see here again and again in Gran Canaria. The best resort is usually the one that matches your personality, not the one with the loudest and most popular name. Arguineguín is another holiday destination on the island. Maybe holiday destination is the wrong name. It is more like a town that is very popular with holidaymakers. This is one of the quieter and less touristy places in the south, and also one of the more budget-friendly ones. If you want warmth and a southern location, but do not want to feel like you're in a mass tourism resort, Arguineguín can be a very smart choice. It has a more lived-in and traditional feel, and that alone can make it more appealing for holiday makers here on the island who like that kind of stuff. It is not the answer for big nightlife or a flashy resort atmosphere, but for a low-key southern stay, it is absolutely one of the strongest alternatives. On top of that, you have Puerto Rico just a 5-minute drive away, so if you do want to go for that more loud, touristy nightlife, you can still just take a drive over there. Within walking distance from Arguineguín, you will also find Anfi del Mar. Anfi del Mar is a great option if the beach is your #1 priority. It has one of the nicest and most picturesque beaches in Gran Canaria, with soft sand, calm water, and a more polished, almost resort postcard look that many other beaches on the island don't have. Also, this area is not very big, so everything is very close to each other, what makes it very convenient, but also means that there is not so much variety when it comes to, by example, restaurants or nightlife. For this, you can also go and have a look in Puerto Rico, which is not too far away, or you can walk over to Arguineguín, where you have more beaches, more restaurants, and more choice. But still, Anfi del Mar is great for a beach holiday, especially for families or couples who want their holiday to be all about the beach and be most of the time on the beach. There's also an area known as Maspalomas. A lot of people have heard about this, but it is very often that it is not used in the correct manner. Now, most of the times when you see Maspalomas, it refers to an area reaching from Meloneras all the way over to Playa del Inglés and then further into another area known as St. Agustín. So it is important to know that when you are booking Maspalomas, you might actually be very far away from the actual area you want to be in. So if you're booking a Maspalomas hotel, definitely check on the map before booking where it actually is. Then there is also Puerto de Las Nieves, which is probably the most niche choice in this entire video, but also one of the most distinctive. If you want to get away from the typical tourist atmosphere, this is one of the clearest options on the island for you. But let's be honest, this is not the best choice for most people on the island. This is for people who actively want authenticity, quiet and a very different pace. If that is you, Puerto de Las Nieves can feel like a hidden win. If it is not for you, it could feel too quiet, too remote and not holiday-like enough. While most tourists stay in the south of Gran Canaria, one place that is also definitely not to be overlooked is Las Palmas. Las Palmas is not the standard resort holiday answer, but for a lot of people it is the right answer anyway. It has city life, culture, shopping, museums and one of the island's standout beaches, the Playa de las Canteras. So if you want a beach holiday with more local, authentic life around it, or a city and sea combination instead of a pure resort bubble, Las Palmas becomes very compelling. It is not for everyone. If your dream is an all-inclusive sunshine in the tourist south, you may still prefer that. But for couples, solo travelers and anyone who likes having more than one type of holiday in the same trip, Las Palmas can be one of the most rewarding choices on the island. Also, if you want to know the best family hotels and resorts, have a look at this video. And if you want to know the best couples hotels and resorts, have a look at this video.